Part 33. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 321. After saying that, John Killen took his hand away from his brother's shoulder and blocked one of his ears. 1. 2. 3. Ah! John Kyun screamed, twisted, and roared. The glass in the reception room resonated with it. Jiang's father was shocked. What's wrong? John Killen nodded his head and waved to his father, meaning that his brother's brain was wrong again, so he didn't need to pay attention. Jiang's father muttered something and sat back down. John Kyun suddenly stopped screaming and clapped his hands. I told you, I told you. Yinga stopped updating for half a year, and suddenly resumed updating, but then stopped for a few days in the middle. During those days, I was participating in survival. And, Big Sister has a wealth of knowledge about wilderness survival. So does Yinga. No wonder Yinga specifically asked Big Sister to play the leading female role. John Killen took his hand away from his ear and said earnestly, Okay, thank you for your analysis, Mr. Kyun. Go and have fun by yourself, and give me some peace and quiet. John Kyun walked around the room excitedly, muttering to himself. It makes sense, it makes sense. No, I have to go back and revise the lyrics. Ha 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 ha, there are still people questioning the relationship between Yinga and Big Sister on the internet. If Mike hadn't confiscated my Weibo account, I would have gone up to confront them. I really want to know how those people react when they find out that Big Sister is Yinga. John Killen raised his head. Hey, Kyun. John Kyun looked at his brother excitedly. Huh. It's a secret. Don't tell anyone. John Kyun immediately twitched his mouth and nodded repeatedly. A few seconds passed. John Kyun said shyly, Then can I tell Lisa? She is super tight-lipped. She is also a fan of Yinga's books. John Killen thought, maybe she knows it earlier than you. No, John Killen said, I'll ask Cheng Ling later. John Kyun nodded. He didn't realize why his brother acted so familiar with Cheng Ling. At this time, the door was knocked 3 times. John Killen's eyes flashed, he put away his phone, strode to the door and opened it. Jiang's father stood up from the chair. John Kyun was a little stunned. Standing outside the door was a tall, short black hair, sharp and deep eyes, middle-aged woman who looked very capable. She was carrying a backpack and pulling a suitcase. Mom, you're back, John Killen greeted calmly. Jiang's father was a little shy, standing there, just staring at his wife, unable to speak. John Kyun had just been extremely surprised, but now he calmed down. This is my mother. She looks great. Mom. You're back. Come in. John Kyun showed a surprised smile, took a few steps forward, and held his mother's hand. Seeing that John Kyun was not overly excited, Ji Chenjia breathed a sigh of relief. She was afraid that her youngest son would hug her and cry bitterly when he saw her. Didn't old Zhang always say that his youngest son was not stable? Isn't this quite steady and generous? I guess he was exaggerating again, or he was being strict. She smiled and said, I'm back, and walked into the center of the room. The suitcase and backpack were taken by John Killen. She first looked at John Killen and gestured his height with her hands. Killen is really tall. She touched John Kyun's face again. This face is really well maintained, with delicate skin and tender flesh. Finally, she looked at her husband who was standing by the chair, motionless, but actually the most excited. She walked to Zhang Zhenqiu and looked up at her husband. Why, don't you welcome me back? Zhang Zhenqiu hugged his wife, and his heart finally settled down. Welcome home, he said. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 322. On the way home, it was Jong Killen who was driving. Jong Kyun was sitting in the passenger seat. Dad and Mom are sitting in the back row. Jong Kyun put the word mom on the tip of his tongue and recited it silently twice. The blood all over his body began to boil after a while. It's Mom. Jong Kyun secretly turned his head to look at Ji Chin-jae, who was sitting behind the driver's seat. This woman who looks cool, awesome, and beautiful is my mother. Mom's coolness is beyond his imagination. Ji Chin-jae's heart was filled with ups and downs and she was extremely excited. It's just that she was used to suppressing her emotions and not showing them. In this regard, Jong Killen is actually more like himself. Ji Chin-jae raised her head and looked at her eldest son in front of her. Jong Killen drove the car steadily, and the car weaved in and out of the traffic, fast and steady. When he opened the door and saw himself, there was only a hint of surprise in his eyes, and he quickly calmed down. He is a good man who can express his emotions freely and is strong and upright. She then turned her attention to her youngest son in the passenger seat. Jong Kyun, who was peeking, suddenly turned his head back. Ji Chin-jae chuckled, the youngest son is like a puppy that has just arrived at the owner's house. He is excited and curious, and he carefully hides his curiosity. Both sons were raised well. She took her husband's left hand and said softly, "Lao Jong, you have worked hard these years." Jong Jenkyo didn't say anything. He grabbed his wife's right hand and brought it up to him to look at. This is a pair of hands that have endured hardship. Ji Chin-jae's right hand has thick calluses ground with a scalpel, old scars from knife wounds, holes from shrapnel, and traces of long-term exposure to wind and sun. However, Jong Jenkyo felt that this was the most beautiful hand in the world. These hands have saved so many lives and families. It is also these hands that write many poignant comments on the current situation and deliver information on the battlefield in a timely manner, instead of allowing powerful countries to distort facts at will. Thousands of people in the world have had the heroic dream of traveling to the ends of the earth with a sword, drawing out a sword to help when there is injustice on the road, and saving lives and injuries. But very few actually do it. His wife is a chivalrous person. Jong Jenkyo touched his wife's hand gently, it's not easy for everyone. Jong Killen drove the car, listening to his parents chatting behind him. From the corner of his eye, he could see his younger brother turning his head and peeking 30 times a minute. He is very happy. He even wanted to share this happy emotion with Chengling. Then Jiang's father suddenly spoke, "Killen, your car, it's very comfortable to sit in." Jong Kyun listened and immediately felt it with his heart, "It's true, brother, your little shabby car is actually more comfortable to sit in than my car that's several $1 million bigger." Jong Killen didn't explain, just said huh. But the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. As the car sped along the highway, Ji Chin-jae turned her head and looked at the tall buildings outside the window that quickly appeared and disappeared. After returning to her homeland, Maple City has undergone earth-shaking changes, and she can hardly find any trace of it in her memory. However, when the car stopped at Jeongjai, the feeling of a wanderer returning home became stronger. Jeongjai was almost the same as when he left. There are cobblestone roads, stone pavilions, and stone benches, pine and cypress trees, bamboos, and the chrysanthemums in the flower beds under the windows have stopped blooming. At the end of the road, in front of the door of Jeongjai's house on the 3rd floor, the old housekeeper looked at him with tears in his eyes. Got home. Ji Chin-jae's eyes heated up. Pushing open the door, you will see the familiar carpets, curtains, wooden furniture, bookshelves. Try to keep her appearance as she left it as much as possible. Afraid of feeling strange to her. This family has been waiting for her return. Jiang's father said, "Killen, help your mother put the luggage in our bedroom, and then go to the kitchen to see how long it will take for the food to be ready." Jong Killen responded, took his luggage and backpack, and strode upstairs. "Kyun, Take your mother around and see your room. Jang Ki-eun immediately took his mother's hand and led her to his room. Jang Ki-eun wanted to get close to his mother, while Ji Chin-jae wanted to get close to his son, but couldn't let go due to various concerns. This kind of companionship cannot be left to Jang Ki-eun. This guy can't beat a fart with 3 sticks. It might make my wife feel even more embarrassed. Mom, come on, let me show you the awards I have received since I was a child. There are singing competitions, speech competitions, as well as my student photos, graduation photos, and, yes, photos of college stage plays. Jang Ki-eun was as excited as a 7-year-old child. Ji Chin-jae smiled broadly and followed her youngest son upstairs. Father Jang breathed a sigh of relief. After many years, this family is finally complete. Jang Ki-eun placed his luggage in his parents' bedroom and listened to Jang Ki-eun's cheerful introduction outside the house. He was not in a hurry to go out, but leaned against the wall and took out his mobile phone. WeChat is quiet. There is no information about Chen Ling. Maybe still auditioning. He thinks. He clicked on Chen Ling's dialog box. Lan, got it, we just got home. Chen Ling replied instantly. Cheng Xiaoling, are you crying? Lan, the housekeeper cried, but no one else cried. Cheng Xiaoling, the family is finally reunited. Stop chatting and go spend some time with her. Lan, I have something to tell you. I told Ki-eun that it's Ying's problem. He wants to ask you if you can reveal this to the teacher. Cheng Xiaoling, oh, that teacher knew about it a long time ago. Didn't she tell Ki-eun? Jang Ki-eun thought, no wonder Jang Ki-eun said Alexei was tight-lipped. He was really tight-lipped. Lan, no, I'm going to accompany them. I'll contact you later. Cheng Xiaoling, okay, go ahead, waiting for your message. Chen Ling put down the phone and looked at the clothes in the closet. Which one should I choose to meet Ji Chin-jae? She bet that within 2 hours, Jang Ki-eun would call her and invite her to Jiang's house. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 323. Chen Ling was a little nervous. She and Ji Chin-jae were friends. Brother Lan was Ji Chin-jae's son. She felt guilty for sleeping with her best friend's son. Although she hadn't done it yet. If she dressed more gorgeously, it would seem like she was a slut hooking up with someone else's son. If she dressed more simply, it would seem like she didn't care about them. If she dressed more professionally, it would seem a little stiff and unkind. Her mother and younger sister, who could give her advice, were not at home at this critical moment. Just as she was thinking, she heard the sound of a car coming from downstairs. Chen Ling leaned over to the window and was shocked. Oh my goodness! Mom and sister, did they move the mall back? In addition to the car they were in, there was also a black 6-seater business car behind them. The housekeeper was directing the servants to move piles of shoe boxes and bags of clothing paper bags down from the business car. The logos on the bags were bright and dazzling. They were all top brands. Chen Ling thought, it's a good thing that the Cheng family is well off, otherwise they really can't afford to support these 2 young ladies. Soon, she heard Cheng Xiaomei shouting, sister, and rushed up. Cheng Xiaomei carried a few bags and ran to Chen Ling excitedly. Sister, I picked this for you. It's absolutely beautiful. I guarantee that Chief Zhang will have a nosebleed when he sees it. Then the slow voice of Cheng's mother came from behind, and she also carried 2 bags in her hands. Don't listen to your sister's nonsense, the ones that reveal a lot will lose the sense of mystery. Try mine. Men like the hazy feeling of half covering the face. Chen Ling took the bag from Cheng Xiaomei and said, you 2 bought me clothes today. Cheng Xiaomei shook her wrist that was numb from carrying the bag, What do you mean by buying clothes for you? My mother and I went out today and only bought clothes for you. Chen Ling. So, the clothes being moved downstairs are all yours? Mother Cheng stuffed the bag into Chen Ling's hand, sat on the sofa, and said, "Don't worry, I know you have different tastes now, and I chose them according to your current style." Chen Ling was very touched. However, this touch disappeared in a short while. "Mom," Cheng Xiaomei pointed at Chen Ling's dark blue dress, "this one is too old-fashioned." Mother Cheng said, "Didn't Xiao Ling say that the person you are going to meet is not only a friend but also an elder, and a woman, then this kind of dress just looks steady." Cheng Xiaomei, "Sister, try this one. It's definitely better than the one you are wearing." Mother Cheng sneered, "This dress? Are you going to the kindergarten to perform soon? Take it off." Cheng Xiaomei, "This is the most popular dopamine outfit now, which makes my sister look particularly young and beautiful." Chen Ling stood in a pile of clothes, constantly changing clothes, feeling that she was almost dying from being tossed around. Asterisk. The 4 members of the Zhang family sat around the table and ate happily. Zhang Qiun happily talked about the changes in Feng Cheng over the years, and Jiang's father occasionally added a few words. Only Zhang Qilan ate quietly. If Ji Chenjiao picked up a dish more than 3 times, Zhang Qilan would quietly pass the dish to her. After a round of meals, Ji Chenjiao wiped her mouth with a handkerchief and asked, "Qiun, what have you been busy with recently? I see that there is a wound under your bangs that has not healed yet. Is it left by the survival program you participated in last time?" Jiang's father and Zhang Qilan's work have strict confidentiality clauses. Many things, even family members, cannot be told. Talking about Zhang Qiun is considered a safe topic. "No, this wound is a little accident, it's not a problem anymore." Zhang Qiun swallowed the food in his mouth and continued. "I'm writing a song recently. A friend of mine is going to shoot a TV series, and I want to write a theme song for the TV series." "What friend?" Ji Chenjiao asked casually, "What's his name?" Zhang Qiun glanced at his father, then at his elder brother, and then said, "Chen Ling." Ji Chenjiao paused with his chopsticks. "Chen Ling." Ji Chenjiao almost immediately returned to his normal expression, picked up another chopstick of food, and said, "Don't stop eating, keep eating." The Zhang family father and son looked a little relieved, and raised their chopsticks to pick up food. Unexpectedly, Ji Chenjiao suddenly put down his chopsticks. She stared into her husband's eyes with a serious expression. "The last time I hung up on you, it was because I heard the 2 names Chen Ling, and then I didn't contact you for a long time. Don't you ask me why I am curious about this name. Why did I leave the Jacob War Zone? Why did I return to China? Also," Ji Chenjiao turned to Zhang Qiun, and the smile on his face disappeared without a trace, "why do you have to look at your father and your brother's faces when you mention Chen Ling? The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment." Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 324. Zhang Qiun was stunned for a moment. Then, his eyes unconsciously wanted to drift toward his father. "Qiun, look me in the eyes and answer me." Ji Chenjiao stared at Zhang Qiun oppressively. Father Zhang tried to speak, "Chenjiao." Ji Chenjiao raised her hand to stop him, "Don't speak. Let Qiun speak for himself." Father Zhang had no choice but to shut up. "Say, what did you say?" Zhang Qiun stuttered. "Is there anything wrong with Chen Ling?" Ji Chenjiao asked, "What worries do you have?" Zhang Qilan put down his chopsticks and spoke. "Mom, don't embarrass my brother. I'll tell you." Ji Chenjiao turned around and looked at his eldest son who was sitting upright. Both stared into each other's eyes. "Their eyes are very similar." Ji Chenjiao nodded. "It's just that I hope you keep the secret. This secret is related to the lives of many people." Zhang Qilan's voice was cold and clear. I will never reveal the secret. I promise. John Killen hit the target straight. This Chen Ling is the captain of the H Rangers, you know. This answer caught Ji Chenjiao off guard. She had this suspicion at first, then she went to verify it, and then she completely gave up her suspicion. Now, her son actually said that her suspicion was right? No way. She murmured. Although this is what she hopes for most. However, she didn't want to experience the despair of having her hopes dashed again. John Killen continued, she said that she likes to discuss the content of healing psychological trauma, listening to your body's signals with you. You also like Debussy's piano music, and you don't like lavender. The taste of. Ji Chenjiao covered her mouth in surprise. These are all topics that the two of them talked about in their personal relationships. Could it be? Is she really Chen Ling? Ji Chenjiao stood up from the dining table in excitement. Quick, quick, take me to see her. She was so excited that she almost lost her balance. John Killen, with quick eyes and quick hands, supported her. Mom, she is very busy. It's so rude to come to the door like this. When Cheng's mother and Cheng Xiaomei were arguing about which pair of shoes to wear, Chen Ling's cell phone rang. You two study slowly, I'll take a call, Chen Ling said and took the phone to the corridor. The caller ID shows Brother Lan. Chen Ling, John Killen called her. He hesitated. It's not like Commander Jiang's style to be so rude, Chen Ling said half jokingly, half naughty. Does your mother want to come to see me? John Killen sighed softly. I almost wonder if you have installed a listening device on me. Yes, she said, she wants to meet you. Originally, I wanted to make an appointment with you, but she was too impatient and said she would wait. No. Chen Ling said with a smile, she doesn't have to come, I'll go. Tell her I'm going out now and I'll be there in 20 minutes at most. Tell her not to rush. After hanging up the phone, Chen Ling returned to the room. Amidst the arguments between her mother and sister, she picked up a pair of brown boots and quickly went downstairs. Chen Ling said within 20 minutes, it meant within 20 minutes. After opening the door for her, John Killen looked at the time. 18 minutes had passed since he called her. Chen Ling parked the car in the yard. John Killen stepped forward and opened the door. Then, his eyes lit up. Today Chen Ling is different from the past. She wore a short brown leather jacket, a small black skirt, and brown boots of the same style as the jacket. Her hair was tied back into a casual bun with a clip. The whole person looks a little more calm without losing his affinity. Brother Lan, she rolled her eyes. When John Killen saw her, he unconsciously raised his lips and said, Good evening. Thank you for your hard work. Chen Ling closed the car door and walked into the house with John Killen. Ji Chenjiao bit her thumb and sat on the sofa in the living room. Zhang Zhenqiu reached out and removed her fingers from his mouth. She smiled apologetically but nervously. Ever since John Killen said that Chen Ling would be here soon, Ji Chenjiao had been in such a nervous and restless state. She heard the sound of the door and the sound of cars. Then there was the sound of the house opening and the sound of walking. Then, she saw standing at the door of the living room, the female star she had been thinking about for a long time through the screen, Chen Ling. Ji Chenjiao looked at Chen Ling carefully from head to toe. There really was no resemblance to Captain Chen Ling in her memory. Chen Ling stood at the door and let Ji Chenjiao look him over. When the other party had almost finished sizing her up, Chen Ling spoke, Sister Yu, long time no see. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 325. Ji Chenjiao's pupils suddenly shrank, and her whole body trembled. Chen Ling walked slowly towards her and gently held Ji Chenjiao's hand. Sister Yu, I have made you sad and painful for a long time. You are really, her. Chen Ling stared at her with bright eyes. I am her. She is me. Doesn't it feel incredible? Jichenjio still struggled, but, your height, your appearance, your handwriting, your thalassophobia. Chen Ling's eyes flashed with an almost undetectable sharp light. Sister you, handwriting. Thalassophobia. Where did you get my signature from, and then went to Nolan to confirm it? No more than 3 people knew that Chen Ling had thalassophobia. And the only person Jichenjio knew who knew her thalassophobia was Sparrow Nolan. Yes, Jichenjio said. Chen Ling turned around and said to John Killen, excuse me, bring me a piece of paper and a pen. After calling Jichenjio's sister Yu, calling John Killen brother Lan, it felt quite awkward. John Killen took out a fountain pen and a brand new notebook from the bookshelf in the living room and handed them over. Chen Ling opened the notebook, uncapped the fountain pen, lowered her head and wrote 2 lines of words on the notebook. Jichenjio took it and read it carefully. How can a sparrow know the ambition of a swan? The 2 lines of words have the same content, but the handwriting is very different. One is the crooked handwriting of a crab scratching. The other is the thin and sharp handwriting of masculine muscles and bones. Chen Ling put on the pen cap, saw Jichenjio lowered his head to read the words attentively, and explained, as for the fear of seas, it is quite difficult to explain. Jichenjio did not need more explanation. She threw away the notebook and hugged Chen Ling. Her tears rolled down in big drops. To Jichenjio, Chen Ling was the benefactor who saved her life, the teacher who was willing to die for her, and the confidant who shared the same feelings. This world is greedy, crazy, and ugly. Only Chen Ling is a bright star in the sky, clean, sober, open-minded and brave. After hearing that Chen Ling died with the drug lord, and then hearing that the Chinese actress Chen Ling performed well in the show, she ran all the way to America with this little bit of hope, and Nolan proved her wishful thinking with facts. She was hunted by Amos. The widow of her journalist friend was sent to a mental hospital. She submitted Amos's crime information, but Amos was unharmed, and the address where she delivered the letter was surrounded by armed forces. People in the Jacob War zone took up arms and bullied the weaker people in the surrounding areas without empathy. Under multiple blows, the disheartened Jichenjio returned to her home. She met her family and returned to her home. She was happy, excited and satisfied. But there was a peace in her heart, the one that was once illuminated by the stars, the corner called ideals and beliefs, which was dimmed forever. However, at this moment, her star was standing in front of her, smiling and telling her, I'm still here. By your side. Father John felt very uncomfortable looking at his tearful wife. He knew that his wife had not had an easy time over the years, including this time when she came back. Her beliefs were also strongly impacted. But his wife was used to suppressing her emotions. He wanted to find an opportunity to help her vent her anger. When Chen Ling came, she brought out his wife's tears in just a few words. At the same time, Father John was a little jealous. He was not so excited to see me. John Killen made a gesture to his father, bent down to pick up the notebook from the ground, and the two quietly left the living room and closed the door. John Kiun did not wait in the living room. When his brother went to pick up Chen Ling, he returned to his room. John Kiun took out his mobile phone and sent a WeChat message to the cutest Psy. Yun, dear, the big sister is coming, I'm a little embarrassed. The cutest Psy. The cutest Psy, didn't your mother just get home, why is the big sister coming? The cutest Psy, I know, did you accidentally let it slip? The cutest Psy, let me think about it, your father is calm and steady, and your brother is taciturn, who could have let it slip? Yun, pinching waist.jpg. Yun, I was also too excited to see my mother, and accidentally. The cutest Psy, no need to explain, I understand what happened. The cutest Psy, you said you were embarrassed to see the big sister, why, was it because you were rejected when you confessed your love to her before? The cutest Psy, oh my god, you Orientals really are. The cutest Psy, in our country, everyone will confess and be confessed hundreds of times in their life. If everyone is like you, embarrassed and avoid seeing each other because of these reasons, then no one in our country will go out. The cutest Psy. In addition, the big sister is the legendary 10,000 men killer. As long as men and women who have come into contact with her, few can resist being moved in order to pursue her. He gave her satellites, islands, and companies. What crazy ways of pursuing have you not seen? With your one-line pursuit, you don't even have a place at the end of the team. The cutest Psy. Just be open and honest, say what you should say and do what you should do. Yoon. Oh, thank you, dear, I understand. Jong Ki-eun put down his phone, took a breath, and opened the door. But he saw his brother looking down at a notebook and walking towards his room. Hey, brother, where is the big sister? And where is mom? Jong Ki-eun looked behind his brother, who was empty. Jong Ki-eun looked up at Jong Ki-eun and saw that the embarrassed expression on his face disappeared. He said, Chang-ling has arrived. She is chatting with her mother in the living room. Don't disturb her for now. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 326. After closing the door, Jong Ki-eun took his notebook, sat down at the table, and turned on the lamp. Chang-ling's two handwritings really have no connection. When he first came here, he could imagine her inner shock and confusion. In this situation, she can still pay attention to these tiny details, which is really amazing. Look at that row of very beautiful words again. This handwriting is the same as the one that wrote the address of her mother's safe house in Mexico at the handheld meat shop. There is no disguised handwriting. In other words, she is completely defenseless against him. Jong Ki-eun gently stroked the row of powerful words with side edges like orchids and bamboos, and his heart was full of mixed feelings. He never asked how old Chang-ling was before she was an agent. But today, when he heard Chang-ling call her mother Sister Yu, Jong Ki-eun became a little worried. What if she is older than me? Do I still have to call her sister? Although it is not impossible. Chang-ling, sister. Why does it feel bitter? Jong Ki-eun's breathing stagnated for a moment, and his mind could not help but slide into the dark side of his consciousness. He quickly gathered his consciousness and tried to focus on the row of beautiful words. He took out a pen and imitated Chang-ling's handwriting on a blank piece of paper, writing one stroke after another. He always got happiness and strength from Chang-ling, which made him dare not and could not stop. He wanted to run forward with her side by side. Asterisk. Ji Chenjiao gradually calmed down after venting his emotions for a while. Chang-ling led her and sat side by side on the sofa. Chang-ling took out a wet tissue from her bag, tore it open, and handed it to her. Ji Chenjiao took it and couldn't help but secretly look at Chang-ling. Chang-ling looked indifferent, with a gentle smile and calm demeanor. Whether it was the current Chang-ling or the former Chang-ling, they all had the same ability, an ability to make people feel at ease and calm down. Once again, Chang-ling explained her life experience. She wanted to record her words, and next time she encountered a situation that needed explanation, she would just play the recording. Similarly, she omitted her past life with Jong Ki-eun. In the middle of the conversation, Chang-ling pulled Ji Chenjiao to the kitchen because she heard Ji Chenjiao's stomach growling several times. It took at least 15 hours to fly from Mexico to Fengcheng, and at least 17 hours including the car journey. After eating a few bites of the meal at home, I knew about Chang-ling's matter and was no longer in the mood to eat. Chang-ling was nimble and could do two things at the same time, talking and cooking at the same time. Ji Chenjiao clapped his hands and got nervous from time to time. I saw you being rescued by Nolan in the sheepdog software, Chang-ling said as she poured green peppers into the wok and stir-fried them. The wok emitted fragrant green smoke. She dodged with her face turned sideways and continued to ask, "What happened when you arrived in America?" Jichinjayo then told him everything that happened to him in America in detail. He talked about Amos who had nightmares, Dr. Ken who treated Amos, and Nolan who was still upset about Changling's death and began to doubt Amos. When Jichinjayo finished talking about everything, Changling just put the last dish on the plate and washed his hands. She turned to Jichinjayo and said, "You said you got Amos's secret? Give me a copy later." Jichinjayo was dejected. "It's useless. I can't defeat him. I tried." Changling blinked. "That's not necessarily true. The same thing has different effects in different people's hands. Maybe I can play a miraculous role. Then I'll get it for you now." Changling held her back. "Don't worry. Let's eat first. Let your husband and children eat with you. Okay. Wait for me to call Lao Zhang and Kyun." After a pause, Jichinjayo winked, "You go call Kilin." Changling was rarely embarrassed. "Did you see it?" "I first suspected Kilin's attitude," Jichinjayo said. "He is naturally cold. When I said I wanted to see you, he stopped me. In the end, it was him who contacted you. Moreover, the look in his eyes when he looked at you was particularly hot." In addition, from Changling's description, she noticed that Changling was a little subtle when she mentioned John Kilin. All the clues showed that the relationship between the two people was unusual. "But I didn't expect that the one who made your iron tree bloom was actually my stinky boy. His room is the third room on the right upstairs. There is a wooden sign hanging on the door with his name written in brush. Go quickly." Changling went upstairs. She walked lightly and looked at the furnishings in the room as she walked. She also saw a photo of Brother Lan, who was 7 or 8 years old, hanging on the wall. He was wearing a riding suit, holding a riding helmet, and standing next to a tall red horse. He had a stubborn expression on his face. She took out her mobile phone and took a picture of the photo before going upstairs. "Turn right, the third room." "I saw it." There was a wooden sign Kilin hanging on the door. From the vigorous handwriting, it can be seen that it was written by Jiang's father. She was about to raise her hand to knock on the door, and the door suddenly opened. John Kilin pulled her in and closed the door. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 327. From the sound of someone coming upstairs, John Kilin could tell that the footsteps belonged to Changling. He also heard Changling pause for a moment at the corner of the stairs. He guessed that Changling was looking at her childhood photos. Until she walked to her door, John Kilin opened the door and pulled her in. Changling was pressed against the door by him. He held the door with his hand and looked down at her. Changling raised her eyebrows slightly, her eyes sparkling, and looked at him. The two were very close. Changling was trapped in his space. John Kilin stared into her eyes, his voice low and hoarse. "Sister, I want to ask you, how many men have you had before me? I don't mind, but you have to give me a psychological preparation." His breath sprayed on Changling's face. Changling looked at his handsome face close to her, and smiled roguely. "May I ask, brother, what is the upper limit of your acceptance?" John Kilin kissed her fiercely. There was no gap, no chance for her to struggle, just like a predator, merciless. The two people's breath was entangled. This time, John Kilin did not give in, until Changling licked him as if begging for mercy. He let her go. John Killin's dark pupils stared at her eyes without blinking, and his long eyelashes cast a shadow. He said, "Even if all the men in the world are your ex-boyfriends, I don't care. I just want you now. I'm just a little jealous." After saying that, he took a step back and untied Changling's restraints. Changling took a step forward, pulled off his collar, rubbed John Killin's nose with her nose, and said in a tone that was almost a sigh, Brother Lan, I used to be 1 year younger than you, and, I have never had anyone else. Only you. Chen Ling gently rubbed his lips and whispered, come down to eat. After saying that, she let go of the hand that was grabbing his collar, took a step back, glanced at John Killen's room, turned around and opened the door. John Killen followed her. His footsteps were brisk, following her closely. The leftovers in the restaurant had been cleared away, replaced with Chen Ling's newly cooked dishes. The table was full and looked very lively. Although they were all home-cooked dishes made from the leftovers in the refrigerator, they were delicious. Stir-fried cauliflower with pork belly, baked chicken wings with salted egg yolk, beef beaten with coriander, blanched lettuce, braised potatoes, and eggplant with sauce. In the middle was a pot of fresh, spicy, and boiled beef slices. The tender red beef, with crystal bean sprouts underneath, and a little red pepper and Sichuan pepper floating in the air. Just smelling the smell made people salivate. Big sister. Chen Ling looked back and saw Zhang Qiun walking in from outside with 2 bottles of wine. This wine is good. Chen Ling glanced at the label of the bottle. The actor is bleeding today. Zhang Qiun smiled, my mother is back. It's rare for the big sister to come to my house as a guest. How long will I stay here if I don't bleed today? The two smiled at each other frankly. Jiang's father sat at one end of the dining table, with Ji Chenjiao and Chen Ling on one side. On the other side were Zhang Qiun and Zhang Killen. Zhang Qiun opened the wine, a bottle of red wine and a bottle of white wine. He poured a glass for everyone, but only Zhang Killen refused. I may go on a mission at any time, and I will send Chen Ling off later, Zhang Killen explained. Zhang Qiun took back the bottle. He found that his brother today was different from the past. The brother's always cold and hard facial lines were particularly soft, and the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. It can be seen that he tried to stay calm, but his eyes revealed his heart. The brother was happy. When Chen Ling went upstairs, Zhang Qiun opened the door and he just saw his brother pulling Chen Ling in. He understood. Great. Mom is back. The eldest sister may become a member of their family. Father Zhang picked up the wine glass and said, today is the day that our Zhang family has been looking forward to for a long time. I want to sincerely thank Miss Chen Ling, in every aspect. The glasses touched each other, and everyone was excited. Come on, eat the food. Ji Chenjiao put down the wine glass. This is made by Chef Chen Ling, I just helped. Ji Chenjiao, Zhang Killen, and Zhang Qiun all ate the food made by Chen Ling, and naturally raised their chopsticks to pick up the food with full expectation. Only Father Zhang did not hold too much hope. After all, it was a home-cooked meal, and the taste was already familiar to everyone. However, Father Zhang picked up a piece of potato and put it in his mouth, and was shocked by the softness and fragrance of the potato. After the pork belly was dry-fried, the oil and meat were used to stir-fry the cauliflower, which had a unique fragrance. The eggplant with sauce was full of flavor, and the beef was beaten with coriander. The beef was tender and people with bad teeth could eat it with confidence. The boiling beef slices complement the plump and crispy bean sprouts. They are spicy, fragrant, springy, and crispy, which makes people unable to stop eating. The 5 people clinked glasses and chewed, but no one talked about the heavy past. Jiang's father and Zhang Qiun ate and drank happily. They got drunk before they finished the dishes. Zhang Killen sent the 2 drunkards back to their rooms. When they came back, Ji Chenjiao and Chen Ling had finished eating. Killen, wait here for a while. I'll take Chen Ling to wash her hands. After washing her hands, you can send her home. Okay. Got it. Zhang Killen bent down to clean the table. Ji Chenjiao took Chen Ling to the bathroom. Captain Chen, don't call me Sister Yu anymore. Just call me Aunt Ji. I'm not young anymore. I feel embarrassed when you call me like that, Ji Chenjiao said with a smile. Chen Ling drank a little too much. Her eyes, which were usually bright, were even brighter now. Aren't you afraid that I'll call you old? Jichinjio looked at her face in the mirror on the sink and sighed, you can't be called old. I'm not young anymore. After seeing her two sons and the white frost on her husband's temples, she realized that so many years had passed without her noticing. She dried her hands and put a USB drive into Chengling's palm. All the information in here is collected by my friend with all his might. I'll give it to you. Jichinjio squeezed Chengling's hand. Chenling held the USB drive tightly, I won't let your friend sacrifice in vain. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 328. Jichinjio sent Chenling to the car. She told John Killen, drive steadily. John Killen said and opened the car door. Chenling had fastened her seat belt and leaned on the passenger seat, waving to Jichinjio outside the car window. Go back, let's meet and talk about it another day. The car drove away. John Killen turned the steering wheel, and the car merged into the darkness like a fish. The car was filled with a faint smell of red wine and the light mint scent of Chenling. This body is not used to alcohol. It's just a glass and a half of red wine. Chenling is a little tipsy now. She feels a little hot all over, her body is light, her cheeks are flushed, and she can't help laughing. She lowered the window a little bit. The cool night wind blew in from the gap, making her chaotic head slightly clearer. Perhaps it was because of Brother Ian's lustful sister, or that reckless kiss, or because she glimpsed the photo of Brother Lan in military uniform on his desk. Chenling's heart was full of desire for his close contact. She longed for his arrogance and wanted to hug him tightly. She liked his hot breath and liked that he was full of her. Brother Lan in that photo was younger than he is now, and he looked like he had just become an adult not long ago. He had a very beautiful figure, with broad shoulders, narrow waist, and long legs. He was wearing an olive green uniform, a wide white belt that tied his waist tightly, and the golden decorative buttons were shiny. Under his slender legs were a pair of black military boots. John Killen was tall and looked even more handsome in a military uniform. He was so handsome that it was breathtaking. In this closed space, Brother Ian's unique and clean smell could not be suppressed. Chenling closed her eyes and felt that it was even more difficult to calm down. At this moment, it was her ovulation period again. The man beside her exudes a fatal temptation. Chenling lowered the car window a little more. The wind is very cold. Be careful not to get cold if you open the car so high. John Killen glanced at her. Only then did he realize that Chenling's cheeks were rosy and her breathing was a little rapid. What's wrong? Did you drink too much? John Killen asked. Chenling didn't speak. She was struggling with her conscience. The evil villain tempted her, you are in love now, and there is no barrier. He is yours. The righteous villain advised her, you are in a special period now, and you have drunk wine, so calm down. The evil villain, you are about to join the crew. If you want to find a time for the two of you to be alone and intimate again, you may have to wait for a long time. If you don't get close now, when will you wait? The righteous villain, if the love between the two lasts for a long time, why should we be together day and night? If you indulge yourself now, I am afraid that the separation time later will be even more tormenting. Chenling decided to listen to the righteous villain. Chenling, John Killen called her again worriedly. Brother Lan, pull over for a moment. John Killen quickly took a look at the environment, found a convenient place, drove to the side road, and pulled over. Chenling unbuckled her seat belt, opened the door, and walked down. The sky and earth were vast, and the night was as cool as water. Chenling looked up at the sky, took a deep breath, and indeed calmed her dizzy head. John Killen hurriedly got down from the driver's seat, held her shoulders, and asked with concern, are you carsick? She shook her head and smiled, no, get off to take a breath. Chenling looked up at him. Just a hug, not too much. So, she stepped forward, put her arms around his waist and back, and buried her face in his chest. John Killen immediately hugged her tightly. Ever since she said only him, her mood has been like floating in the air. It's not a lie to say that he doesn't care how many boyfriends she has had. But when he heard that he was her only one, his mood was like a bloated balloon, floating freely in the sky. However, he really wanted to know why he was qualified to be the one she preferred. Ling, you don't know how happy I am when you said I was the only one, so happy that I was even a little scared. John Killen's voice was low, and his fingers gently inserted into her hair, gently rubbing her hair roots. Ling, will you be my girlfriend? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 329. Okay, I do. Chen Ling rubbed his hair like a cat, and his comfortable voice softened. Did she agree? John Killen paused his hands and looked down at her. Chen Ling raised his head and looked at John Killen. Then, she bent her eyes and said softly, "Hello, friend Lan." In the autumn night, her eyes were wandering, but her expression was serious. John Killen really liked her so much that he wanted to treasure her every move and stuff her into his pocket. Then he kissed her again. She smelled faintly of red wine, and John Killen captured her lips, almost as drunk as she was by the red wine. In the distance, there is a group of young people like college students, singing songs and walking towards here. John Killen was worried that she would be recognized, so she stopped and covered Chen Ling's face with her collar. When his fingers touched her face, he realized that her little face was a little cold from the cold. "Send me home, friend Lan," Chen Ling's voice came from under his collar. "I'm afraid it will be difficult for your mother to take care of two drunkards at home alone." John Killen exerted a little force on his arms, lingering on the wonderful feeling of hugging her, then let go of his arms, opened the passenger door, and let her sit in the car. Chen Ling was a little drunk and in a good mood. She couldn't help but turn on the stereo and play songs. Living in the moment. Living in the moment. Peace in my soul. My soul rests in peace. Wherever I'm going, I'm already home. Wherever I go, that's my home. Living in the moment. Living in the moment. I'm letting myself off the hook for things I've done. I am free from what I have done in the past. I let my past go past. I let my past go with the wind. And now I'm having more fun. I have more fun now. All words are pale at this moment, and both of them are in a happy and exciting mood at this moment. In the carriage, only the sound of singing played over and over again. Soon, the car turned onto a street near Chen Ling's house. "Brother Lan, just drop me off outside the iron gate of my house. You can drive the car home. What do you want to do tomorrow and the day after tomorrow?" John Killen paused and added a little embarrassedly, "Girlfriend. Tomorrow, I'm going to meet the other actors in the play. I want to get familiar with each other and try out the show," Chen Ling said, "but I usually come back in the evening. Then when you are free, just send me a WeChat message and I will pick you up to have dinner with you tonight." "Okay," John Killen said, "the Bangsa country matter has been settled, and the bureau has given me a few days leave." He wanted to stay with her a little longer. "Okay," Chen Ling smiled, "then I will try to finish it early every day." When the car arrived at the gate, the guard came out. Then he called Miss and ran out to open the door. "Don't be too intimate in front of outsiders." John Killen watched her enter the gate, then started the car and went home. Asterisk. Chen Ling was in a good mood, humming a song, and entered the house. Old Mrs. Chang, father, mother, brother, and sister were all in the living room, watching dramas, chatting, and playing chess. Chen Ling walked into the living room, took a breath, and said loudly, "I'm not single now. John Killen is my boyfriend." The whole family was stunned. Cheng Xiaomei and Cheng's mother were the first to react and were about to pounce on them, but Chen Ling made a stop gesture. She quickly added, "I have urgent matters that must be dealt with today. So, I will tell you in detail tomorrow." Then, she quickly ran back to her room and locked the door. The whole family was left scratching their heads curiously in the living room, but no one bothered Chen Ling. Because their family, Chen Ling, does big things. If she said something was wrong, then it must be true. Chen Ling returned to his room, took a shower and let himself sober up for most of the time. Then he opened the door of the beverage cabinet in his room, took a bottle of iced oolong tea, drank a few sips, and sat in front of the computer. She was wide awake. Chen Ling first turned on the computer and arranged the environment to prevent network intrusion before plugging in the USB flash drive. There are several folders inside. The file names are drugs, fraud, money laundering, tampering with public records, peachy news. Chen Ling clicked through the files one by one. Some were photos, blurry videos, some were recordings, and some were handwritten confessions. Chen Ling carefully discovered that most of the time things happened, he was not with Amos. Some of them were in foreign countries, and some of them were sent to drug lords. Amos was quite cautious, fearing that Chen Ling would notice his ugly face. Chen Ling watched and thought of countermeasures. The Joyce family, to which Amos Joyce belongs, has deep roots and has friends from all walks of life. Ji Chenjiu did not trip up Amos this time, and he suffered the same loss. The materials she submitted must have been intercepted. Finally, Chen Ling saw peach color news and clicked on it. After a quick glance, she didn't find any particularly valuable news. However, after she closed the folder, a piece of information automatically came to her mind, and then she clicked it and read it carefully again. A strange look flashed in Chen Ling's eyes. In a seemingly insignificant document, Chen Ling found something that was enough to drive Amos crazy. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 330. Compared to disaster news such as wildfires, earthquakes, and floods, people are more concerned about news about men and women's behavior. Because it is easier to empathize. People all over the world are the same. For a politician, if he has made outstanding achievements, what mistakes he has made, how much he has embezzled, people will just mention it casually, give verbal praise, criticism, or accusation, and will not pay too much attention. But if this politician is involved in a sex scandal, then people will talk about it with relish. After dinner, all the people related to the sex scandal will be picked out and commented on one by one. Amos himself is not actually a lustful person. His desire for power is far greater than his desire for money and women. Amos believes that if he has power, he can have as much money and women as he wants. Moreover, if there is a scandal about women, it will have a very unfriendly effect on his political career. However, before he became governor, he met his current wife, 23-year-old Marlene Taylor. Marlene had a pair of big watery eyes, always looking at him with admiration, and took every word of her as seriously as if it were God's will. At Amos' age, it is inevitable that he will be attached to youth. Occasionally, he will regret not enjoying himself when he was young. Marlene made up for the shortcomings in his heart, and gave him great spiritual comfort. So, Amos married her and gave her unimaginable material enjoyment, an 18th century castle with more than 80 rooms in Austria, collecting historical jewelry from various countries, like collecting stamps, raising all kinds of rare birds and animals. Chen Ling read the documents in Romance News at a glance, and his eyes were fixed on one of the messages. Amos Joyce summoned dozens of Playboy magazine cover girls to one of his private houses and reveled all night, just because his wife Marlene was pregnant and could not satisfy his desires. Amos has high blood pressure and takes medicine for a long time. The side effect of antihypertensive drugs is that men have erectile dysfunction. As a man, such things naturally do not want others to know. At that time, Amos and Marlene were in the honeymoon period. Naturally, the most important sex was indispensable. Amos sought help from a very famous private doctor who treated unspeakable male diseases. Things in the world are linked one after another. Chen Ling was lurking around a drug lord at the time and accidentally discovered that this private male doctor was one of the drug lord's men. The private doctor joked with the drug lord about Amos's personal problems. This man was afraid that he was not good enough in bed, so he came to me to ask for the blue pill, and he wanted the powerful one. I gave it to him. The effect was quite good. Unfortunately, what he didn't know was that the side effect of this medicine was to completely inactivate the sperm. He didn't know that this medicine can't be taken for a long time. If you take it for a month, you will never produce active sperm. He tasted the sweetness and bought 3 years' worth from me at once. He was not afraid of dying on his little wife. After selling the medicine, I will close the clinic. What if Amos can't have children in the future and troubles me again? Chen Ling wanted to tell her adoptive father after completing the task of destroying the drug lord team. But, her adoptive father shot her. So, her adoptive father didn't know about this. The child in Marlene's belly could never be his. And, Chen Ling also had a guess about who the father of this child was. 2 people. One is the son of Amos's younger brother, that is, Amos's nephew John Joyce. One is the leader of the sheepdogs Murphys, who calls himself a shepherd.